Hi, Aries. Hope you guys are doing really, really well. My name is Brian. I am your queer psychic bestie, and I have a reading for you guys today. This is going to be a monthly look at the month of September for the sign of Aries. So, if you have Aries anywhere in your chart, if you vibe with Aries, maybe you're a cross watcher, whatever the case may be, this reading may resonate for you. As always, we're going to take what resonates and we're going to leave what does not. This is the internet. If you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can do that through email or form submission on my website. Aries, we will be doing a Celtic cross today, so that gives me a very wide view of the month to come for you. Just lets me get as much information, quite frankly, as possible. So let's see what's going on. Let's get into this. The first thing that's coming through, the cards they're not even all out yet, but what I was picking up like right when I sat down to film this video, was all my guides keep saying to me is people are not thinking of you as much as you are thinking about you. So I think that's an interesting way to start your reading off. Maybe in your month, we're just kind of, I feel like, I think some of you guys pay attention to what people are saying, thinking, like what you're perceiving. It's almost like, what's that called? Why am I blanking on this right now? Hyper awareness. Do you know when you're like super aware, like you hyper vigilance? Thank you. It took them a minute, but they gave it to me. Some of you guys may struggle with hyper vigilance, especially in this month. So I think that's interesting. But let's get into the reading. Let's see what the cards have to say. Bottom of the deck is your challenge. Represents what you're not seeing, what you're not looking. Can you focus, please? Hello? Okay. Three of Cups, the Sun, and the Eight of Cups. So 10 of Pentacles is here as well. Aries, what I think is really interesting about your challenge for the month of September is that you're leaving some sort of happiness behind. Like you're walking away from something that I feel like with the Sun and the Three of Cups, you thought it was going to make you happy for a while, or maybe it did even make you happy for a while. You have the Ten of Pentacles behind these as well. So this could have been something like a job or something that you were giving to in the hopes that it would give back to you in the long term with the Ten of Pentacles. But it feels like right off the bat, it feels like something you're processing right now that I will remind you of is that you are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to go into something and think, okay, this is for me, this is what I'm going to do, and then figure out down the line, actually, this isn't really for me anymore. I'm going to call it kaputs here. I feel like a lot of you guys are going to be dealing with that. I don't want to say struggling with it, but maybe struggling a little bit with it in the month of September, like walking away from something simply just because you decided you wanted to, right? So let's get into it. You start with Strength, card of Leo, so you may have other fire signs in your chart, not just Aries. With the start off point here of Strength, I think this is a testament to the fact that this is a difficult task for you. You know, it takes a lot of courage to walk away from something after we've already sort of poured time, energy, effort into it, right? Because I think for a lot of you here, you're dealing with the sunk cost fallacy, which is like the sunk cost fallacy is like, I poured X amount of time into this. If I leave this behind, I wasted my time. I'm losing all of that. I'm going to remind you, Aries, that you are not losing anything. When we start over, we're not starting over from scratch. I always tell my clients and my collectives, we're starting over from experience. Okay? I was a hairdresser for many years. I no longer am a hairdresser, but all of that experience of hairdressing taught me how to run my tarot reading business, how to run my business as a psychic medium. I'm still a service provider. I'm just in a different industry. But all that I learned from being a hairdresser, I use actively day in and day out in my career. Okay? You guys need to remember that. Whatever this is that you've left behind, it taught you lessons that you are going to actively use. So this is not like a waste. You're not throwing anything down the drain, all right? You got to remember that. Your crossing card, and the crossing card in a Celtic cross is either a help or a hindrance, and it is the Hermit. I do feel like this is a little bit of a help for you guys. Some of you may also have Virgo in your chart because this is popping out strong to me right now. Some of you guys are working on new meditation practices, I'm hearing. Keep sticking with it because there is this sort of larger lesson that you are learning about stillness, like being still and letting the answers flow to you. I think a lot of you guys, Aries, are struggling with control issues here. It feels like you probably favor the divine masculine, because that's how this is coming through, is you're action oriented, you're goal oriented. You're like, oh, I want this, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to get it. And it feels like now, as you're coming into September, you're being asked to sit in more of like a divine feminine energy, which is like, I don't chase, I attract. And that also comes with that territory of stillness, of slowing down, being a little bit more quiet, letting the answers flow to you. And it feels like some of you guys have a little bit of friction here with that because you're so used to being the pursuer, going out and going after what it is that you want here, that it feels like you don't really know how to just kind of sit and wait. Feels like you're impatient as well. Yeah, Death, Knight of Swords. Yep, King of Cups. A lot of you guys are learning exactly like what I'm saying here. When is the time for stillness and when is the time for action? Okay, King of Cups is emotional regulation, emotional stability. The Knight of Swords is moving very fast, going forward. And Death is death of the ego, not physical death, right? I think also something that's coming through for a lot of you guys is like you always are trying to rush to the finish line. That sense of like looking for that sense of safety by rushing to the finish line there's an abandonment wound buried all up in that you guys need to start really looking at, right? Because if you can get to the finish line and you can secure it, nobody can take it from you or nobody can leave you once you've already won the race. You know, buried in that is your feelings of abandonment and your feelings of like, well, this can be taken from me. So it feels like for a lot of you here with the death, I think this is also a larger conversation with yourself about, okay, well, why do I feel so unsteady? Why do I feel like I can't do it? Why do I feel like I have to secure this or I'm going to lose it, right? Because even here in your headspace, you have the Eight of Wands. So I think you guys are doing a lot of internal talking right now. You know, it feels like right off the bat, this month is very internal for you, Aries. This month is a lot of convos within yourself. It's a lot of talking with yourself. It's a lot of deconstructing things within yourself. And I feel like some of you may feel like this is such a strange word to come through. It's so odd for me to even say it. Meathead. Some of you may feel like head empty, no thoughts is the only other word I can think of for meathead. Like you don't have the capacity here for it or whatnot. I think you're just being mean to yourself here, babe. Okay, I think you're underestimating yourself quite a bit right now. Okay. You do have the capacity for these thoughts. You do have the capacity to deconstruct these things. It just may take you a little bit more time than you're anticipating. Thank you. Yeah, literally. Hanged Man, Four of Swords, and the Six of Wands. Hanged Man is patience. Four of Swords is rest, and Six of Wands is victory. Like I said to you guys, you are perfectly capable of turning these ideas over within yourself. You're perfectly capable of having these conversations with yourself. You just need to allow some extra breathing room here. Allow a little bit of extra time, right? The way my guides want me to explain this is kind of funny. I was never good at math in school. You know, I was able to do it, but I was slow. You know, there were people that they could spit out entire equations really, really fast. It took me a minute. I always got to the answer, but I was slower with the processing of it. That's like a parallel for you guys here. It's like you need to allow yourself that extra processing time, that little bit of extra grace to really sit with and digest the lesson here, the stillness, and allow yourself time to recuperate, right? You know, whatever that, like when we go through emotional toil, the way my guides are giving this to me is like, that shit is tough. You know, going through and processing emotion is labor, or you could think of it as kind of like labor, right? We're doing it for ourselves, so is it really labor? But it feels like labor, right? It's a lot of hard work, it's a lot of messiness, and I think you guys need to give yourself a little bit of extra. Again, it's coming through with this specific wording, like extra breathing room, because this is not going to be an easy. Emotions are tumultuous, right? This is not an easy y equals mx plus b. I can plug it into the formula and move on. Okay, this is a little bit of a stepping stone and a little bit of a learning curve for you as well. In your physical world, you do have the Queen of Pentacles. Aries, I think it's really important to take care of yourself this month. You know, Queen of Pentacles is the mom card. I don't feel like this is really any mom wound coming out in the physical world. It's just a sort of a reminder to be gentle with yourself, to be kind with yourself. You know, allow your body to rest. Allow yourself to go through the feelings that you're going through and go through the motions that you're going through without being like, oh my God, I shouldn't be this tired. You know, it's that's like where I feel like you guys are struggling a little bit here. Processing emotion, like I said, it is a lot of work, and oftentimes we feel exhausted after it. So wrap yourself up in a blanket, get yourself a snack, take a nap on the couch. Like, you're gonna have a lot of emotional fatigue and a lot of exhaustion to combat this month. So don't crucify yourself here, okay? Yeah, Seven of Pentacles. I think you guys are also just so caught up in like wanting to see physical results here that it's not really, that's not how this works, right? Yeah, Three of Swords, Six of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles. It's like the work you're doing is for long-term stability, success, and happiness. You're not going to get this like super quick payoff just because that's just not how emotions work, right? We can process things and maybe it takes like a week or two to process it, and then we can process it and get rid of it, which is great. But I think some of you guys are struggling with some like issues with internalized capitalism for sure, of like, okay, I'm doing this work, I want to see the grade immediately, I want to see something today, and that's just not how it's going to be, babe. Okay, you really got to give yourself a little bit more grace in September. That's a big theme for you guys here, is giving grace, being kind. Because even in your past here, you come from the Four of Swords, so you already know that things take time. You've already been through the ringer, and you've been through the healing, and you've done all of these sorts of things, but it feels like you're still holding on to some sort of like unreasonable expectation for yourself. Yeah, Two of Pentacles. The way my guides are giving this to me is like, let's say you don't, you don't like running. You never run. You can't expect yourself to get up off your seat, the couch, whatever, for yourself and run a 5K tomorrow. You just can't. Okay, that's where I feel like you guys are. You need to remember here is that you're asking that of yourself, and it's just not realistic. Okay. Page of Cups, Two of Pentacles, Eight of Cups. Yeah, it's like, I think coming from the past here, it was really difficult for you guys to give yourself credit, to be a bit kinder to yourself, to extend yourself some grace. And I think that is that theme, that lesson is still being learned, and it's coming back around in September for you. You know, it's like you're really being asked to be kind to yourself, take a little bit of a seat and digest really what's going on. It's like the way my guys are saying this to me is kind of funny. They're like, chew your food. Okay, you don't just stuff food in your mouth and then swallow, right? You chew it because it has to be digestible. That's what's going on here, Aries. You have to be able to like chew your food up enough to then be able to swallow it and digest it, right? This isn't just like I'm putting a giant hunk of food in my mouth and swallowing. Okay, that's not helping you. You know, moving into your near future, you do have the Knight of Cups, so I do love to see this. I do think you are going to be gentler with yourself. I do think you are going to be kinder with yourself here. But it does feel like, for whatever reason, Aries, I don't know why this is coming through now of all times, but like there's a lot of distractions this month. Maybe you feel distracted in that like you don't have time for yourself or you don't have opportunity to give back to yourself. But it's coming through of like, okay, we need to be kinder to ourselves, but it's like you're finding reasons not to be. Yeah, Six of Cups, Judgment, and the Emperor. For a lot of you, this is, like I said, this is a father issue, a father wound, divine masculine wound. With that Emperor and the Six of Cups and Judgment, I think a lot of you guys, I'm taking Judgment quite literal today. I don't think this is a return from anyone from the past for you. This just literally feels like you learned from like a young age to judge yourself, to be kind, to not be kind to yourself, to be mean to yourself. And it feels like whenever you try to be nice here in September, it's going to be a little bit of a battle. You know, it feels like you're really going to have to confront some like very deep shadow wounding, some very deep shadow work here. Okay, specifically around childhood, the father figure, and like, why am I so harsh with myself? Like, why do I have to strive to be perfect to be worthy? Okay, perfection is not real. It isn't. You will never do anything perfectly. You just won't. We're human, you know? And so it feels like as you go through September, there is going to be this deeper sort of habitual want to be perfect, like a habitual striving for perfection that I think this is where you're going to get distracted, because it's almost like every time I try to psychically push into this energy, it's almost like your energy wants to talk about something else. And I think that's how you self-sabotage a little bit here, Aries. I think that is quite literally your self-sabotage tendency, where you're like, oh, I should really deal with this. But then you're like, oh, I have dishes to do. I'm going to go do those dishes. I'm not going to talk about this. And I think this is really throwing you this month. It's going to be like there's going to be a conscious cognitive effort here by you to stay on track, to keep like going the direction that you want to go without getting caught up in this very negative like issue with self-perception. And maybe that's why in the beginning my guides were telling you like nobody's thinking about you as much as you're thinking about you. People aren't looking at you every day being like, oh, I hope Aries does this perfectly, and if they don't, I'm gonna say something. No, people aren't like that, Aries. Okay, so why are you like that to yourself? That's the big question here. How you view yourself is the Two of Swords. So I do feel like, Aries, I don't think I'm telling you anything you don't know. Okay, with the Two of Swords, I think you are aware of just exactly how much this is inhibiting you, how much it's keeping you out of a seat of power, out of your own control. And it feels like with the Two of Swords, you're aware that a decision has to be made here. You're like, okay, I have to do something about this. I need to tackle this. But what? What's the decision? Try again. Star, Two of Wands, King of Swords. Yeah. I'm going to say this really blunt, Aries. You got to stop being so literal, and you got to stop being so like critical. Literal and critical. Okay? That's your mantra, it feels like, and that's what's really halting you here. Okay? The decision that you have to make, it sounds easy, but it's harder in practice, is a conscious choice to be kind to yourself. To show yourself grace, to extend a modicum of empathy towards yourself. Okay, we are not perfect. I keep hearing it over and over. It's like you expect perfection from yourself, and that's just, it's not gonna happen. Okay, you can't. It's like the way my guides want me to say this is like when you look at, this is such a random example, like an actor. You think of an actor like Hugh Jackman or Ryan Reynolds, and they do these movies where they have to get into Hugh Jackman Wolverine. They have to get into this crazy otherworldly shape. Multiple celebrities have said, like, this is not a reasonable silhouette for your everyday person. You know, the average lay person can't afford a celebrity chef, can't afford a nutritionist, a dietitian, a personal trainer to be in the gym for 5 hours a day. Okay, but that's their literal job. That's what's being asked of them in that moment. Okay? It's the same thing. Let's say you work 9-hour shifts 5 days a week. After your 9-hour shift, if you don't want to go to the gym for 5 hours, why force yourself to? Why? Okay, you need to start understanding that there will never be perfection, that you won't be perfect. Well, if I could just get through my 8 to 5 and then go to the gym from 6 to 9, everything would be better. Would it? Or would you be so burnt out you couldn't get out of bed the next day? Okay, you need to start asking yourself, and obviously I'm not talking about physical fitness literally, I'm using it as an example for yourself, but like, you can only burn the candle at both ends for so long before you collapse, before there's like a break of some sort, okay? Your superpower is the lovers, so you may have a really good connection here. You may also just be, it's a card of Gemini, you may be in a place of like, it's known as the choice card. Maybe you're really good at making decisions. Maybe that's where this can also come in for you, but how is this tying into the rest of the reading? How is this helping you? Thank you. 3 of Cups. Oh, it is a connection for you. For some of you, you're partnered, and you have a beautiful, wonderful connection here. Okay, Hierophant, high-level commitment, 4 of Wands, halfway to marriage, and the 3 of Cups, celebration, rejoice. It feels like a lot of you guys, even if this isn't romantic, you have strong connections in your life. You have strong interpersonal connections that are really showing up and showing out for you this month, and I feel like some of you also need to understand that it's not weak to ask for help. It's not weak to ask people for assistance or to have to rely on someone. Okay, let's say you had major surgery and you lost the ability to use one of your hands. Would you be like, oh, it's really weak of me that I'm asking for help right now? No, absolutely not. It's quite literally not. Okay, I feel like you guys have to understand here, or try to understand, that in order to get through this, you have to work on breaking the habit. The habit that you have is, well, no, I won't ask for help. How do you break the habit? By forming a new one. Now the new habit is, oh my God, I'm stressed out. I need help. I'm going to ask. I'm going to go out of my way to ask. Okay, there are ways to form new, better habits, but first you have to acknowledge that you have a bad habit to begin with, okay? Because your hope and your fear is the 3 of Wands. Your hope is to make moves here this month, but your fear is that you don't. You know, whatever this is, whatever you're hoping to accomplish here, it will happen, you know, but, excuse me, again, you have to allow for some patience. Exactly. Temperance just flew out. Yeah, 10 of Swords in the reverse. 4 of Pentacles, Knight of Wands. You're looking to end some, whether it's cycles or something specifically in your life. General cycles, work cycles, who really knows? But you have the Empress. Oh, this is the Empress, not Temperance. Oops. The Empress, the Knight of Wands, the 10 of Swords in the reverse, and the 4 of Pentacles. I think you guys are just... You're really struggling with not taking the lead right now. I'm feeling really strongly like The reason the Empress is here in your fear is because you don't feel like you have the ability to be the Empress. You don't feel like you have a grasp on sitting still and allowing the universe to bring to you what you need. Okay, with that Knight of Wands, I think you guys are busybodies. I think you are just kind of like always out doing something. And with that Ten of Swords in the reverse and the Four of Pentacles, you're really being asked to pull back a little bit this month. Okay, really come back into your own energy, pull away a little bit, settle within yourself, and then figure out, well, what's my next move? What do I need to do? What do I want to do? Okay? It really just feels like you're talking yourself out of your own capabilities here. Okay? I just accidentally shook my entire PC. You are stronger than you think here. You are more capable than you think here. You keep trying to convince yourself that you're not. And that's like the main problem here. Okay, but your outcome is the Six of Swords and the Page of Swords. I see you leaving this month and moving into the month after. I mean, like, this is the end of the reading, so this is like leaving September, going into October. Very curious. You know, I think you guys are really going to get a better idea of who you are, what you're capable of, what are your limits, and what you're looking for this month. And you're going to take that stride into the next month. But for this month in general, this is what it's all teaching you here, right? How can you exit this September and then move into October with ready to charge forward if you don't know yourself, if you don't know what you're capable of, if you don't even know what you're looking for here or how to get it, right? If I go into a store not knowing what I'm looking for, what am I going to leave with? Not what I need. Same thing here. Yeah, Wheel of Fortune, period. One more, please. Yeah, it's just sort of like, I think you guys are doing some deep healing here. You've got the Lovers again, the Five of Wands, and the Wheel of Fortune. I think you guys are really... I think you're choosing to not hide in your relationship anymore, and you're choosing to get to know yourself on a deeper level. You're choosing to figure out who you are. You're choosing to figure out what makes you tick. What are your trauma responses? What are you looking for out of this life? And how do you heal it? How do you get to that end goal of what you actually want? Well, you have to know yourself, okay? You have to know yourself inside and out, and that's how you're going to do it. All right, let's get you guys an oracle card. I am just cleaning up a little bit. I have this really bad habit of skewering cards everywhere, and then I'll finish the video, and I can't even get to my keyboard because there's fucking cards everywhere. So we will be using the Angelarium for your oracle card. I absolutely love this deck. It reads us to filth. The artwork is beautiful. It's just a great deck. I use it all the time. So this is for Aries. What is the advice for Aries for September, please? Please. What's the advice here? Just one. Thank you. Okay. You guys have Barakiel, Angel of Lightning. This is a good one. You'll see why. Let's find him. It's number 43 for those of us into numerology. Okay. Drawing this card may be a sign there's a rising energy building in your life. Something is coming up. The potential is gathering in the air. The force could be harnessed, but it's also dangerous. Staying present is always a good idea, but when electricity begins to gather at your feet, it's important to either move with it or get out of the way before it burdens you. Okay, Aries, this is a very big power moving month for you. You're making big moves, you're doing what you need to do, and you're really forging a path forward for yourself. So, Aries, I'm going to end your reading there. That is your monthly forecast. Things are looking really positive for you guys this month, okay? If this reading resonates with you, if my reading style happens to resonate with you, do consider liking and subscribing. We are on the road to 200 subscribers, which is exciting. If you guys would like to interact with me on a live basis, I do go live 3 days a week on Twitch. You can find me Wednesday and Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. EST, as well as Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m. EST. So, Aries, I leave you with this. I hope that you guys have a fabulous day, night, evening, weekend, wherever you are, wherever in the world you are, whatever time it is. I hope to see you over on Twitch, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.